Greetings, soul siblings. Welcome to Soul Perspective, a podcast about spirituality with me, Nick Brown. Each Sunday we'll see a new show delving and diving into thoughts and ideas relating to spiritualism and the spiritual movement as a whole. Sometimes I may even have a guest joining me. So sit back, relax, or stand and do the ironing, whatever floats your boat. If you're looking for an honest take on spirituality, mediumship, and religious philosophy, without always being too serious, you have come to the right place. Well, I did promise you an answer to that riddle that I gave you last week. When is an apple not an apple? When it's a fig. Now, most of us grew up hearing that Adam and Eve took a bite from an apple in the Garden of Eden, but here's the thing. The Bible never actually says that it was an apple. We've added that over time. In fact, at the time that the story was said to have taken place, apples weren't even anywhere near where Eden would have been. Apples were first discovered in Kazakhstan, not the Middle East. Eden, if it existed as a real place at all, would have been in Mesopotamia. So if not an apple, then what? Maybe it was a fig. Here's something worth thinking about. After Adam and Eve ate the fruit, they realized that they were naked. And what did they cover themselves with? Fig leaves, not apple leaves, fig leaves. That small detail, tucked away, almost in passing, hints at something bigger. Maybe the fruit that they ate wasn't an apple at all. Maybe it was a fig. But what if it wasn't anything physical? The fig becomes more than a piece of fruit. It becomes a symbol of awakening, of awareness, of stepping into a new reality. The moment that they covered themselves was the moment that they recognized themselves as separate individuals. Now, all of this sounds like one of those riddles that my granddad used to drop on me to distract me from solving the Radio Times track word before he could. Except this isn't one about simple distraction. It's about something far older and far deeper. It's about the story that we've all heard. That story of creation, of the first humans, Adam and Eve, and the Garden of Eden, and the forbidden fruit. But let me ask you, what if the story wasn't about two people biting into a bad food product, but about the creation of the human soul? The book of Genesis tells us about a paradise, Eden, a perfect garden where humanity began. But think for a moment, not of a place with trees and rivers, but of a realm beyond the physical, an etheric realm, a place where human souls existed in harmony before being born into flesh and blood and bone, before the world of pain and joy, love and loss, before us as physical beings. Now, evolution, that long, winding, beautiful process that led us from single-celled organisms to creatures walking upright, has left us with something of a mystery, a missing link. Scientists search for it in fossils, in bones, in ancient DNA. But what if the real missing link wasn't physical at all? What if it was spiritual, related to the soul, not genetics? That moment of awakened consciousness. Imagine this. For eons, bodies evolved, prepared, waiting for something more, and then something extraordinary happened. Our consciousness. Souls descending into those bodies. This would mean that the fall isn't a punishment. It was the birth of humanity. And that fruit, the so-called forbidden fruit, that was free will. Not a gift handed down, but a choice we had to make. We had to reach out and take it for ourselves. Because free will isn't free will if it's forced on you. It had to be claimed, not given. If God wanted us to have free will, in order to get us to have it, maybe it had to kind of trick us into taking it through choice. One thing I know about humans is if you say, don't touch that, they're going to touch it. So Adam and Eve, our metaphorical ancestors, chose knowledge, chose experience, chose the pain and beauty of living. They chose to fall so that we could rise. So when is an apple not an apple? When it's a fig. And when is a fall, I suppose you could ask, not a fall? When it's the first step forward. Our mission then, as said last week, is not to claw our way back into Eden. It's to live, to learn, to struggle and love, and to fail and to get up again. to gather all that we are and all that we know and carry it back to the Great Spirit, to whatever you want to call that higher power. Call it God, call it the universe, call it the collective consciousness. But that is our purpose, to experience, to grow, to return wiser than we came. Because isn't that what free will is for? Not to be perfect, but to be better. To stumble, to stand, and to walk forward. The human urge to build itself back to some lost glory is ingrained in our nature and in our DNA. But what if that glory is not physical? And what if, rather than going back to the past, we should build a newer, better future? We hear so much about doing things this way or that way, but much of the old ways have failed us. That's why we seek the new. Yes, we should respect and bring with us the learnings of the past and use them to build a greater, nobler future. But let go of the things that do not work and try new things. In the world right now, one such way is the cycle of hate and violence coined as an eye for an eye. Hell, even Jesus, the man that I refer to as Yeshua ben Yosef, or Joshua Carpenter, to make it even simpler, thought that that was dumb when he said, turn the other cheek. The cycle of an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, keeps us focused on who started what and creates a feedback loop throughout history of pain. One thing we should have learned by now is that it no longer matters who started what. It only matters who is suffering. And it only matters what we do in the now to end that cycle. Otherwise, there will be no one left to debate who was right or wrong. No one left to weep. No one left to honor those who came before us. We must choose, as Adam and Eve chose, a new path and change the way we honor the past by building a future of peace and freedom, not further pain. This is why we are here, to learn, to grow, and to build. Well, thanks for joining me. Don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and if you feel the urge to continue the conversation, do so in the chat. And I hope you've enjoyed our time together today. Don't forget, tell your friends. And if you have any thoughts or ideas on what you would like me to discuss in the future, give me a shout out too. Until next time, my soul siblings, be well, be blessed, and let your soul see new perspectives every day.